One of the big things that kind of came across the wire was Tupac getting justice. Do you wanna go there right now?
It's my birthday. We're talking Tupac, and we're talking Magic
Outcast.
3, Kendrick, Kanye, and all of this is totally unplanned. It's great. Really, really great.
Well, there's been an
I'm
arrest
playing
in
Death Row East as soon as this show is over.
for sure. There's been an arrest in the murder of Tupac Shakur. Keefe D has been arrested with the what are they getting him for? Orchestrating the murder. And it's a really interesting thing because it seems like a lot of this information, most common people or common fans already knew. From my understanding, the Las Vegas Police Department, they said that they had a notion that these things were going to, I mean, that these things transpired in that fashion, but they didn't get confirmation and evidence until Keefe D got on the internet and different shows actually placing himself in those situations that they didn't have clear evidence for. And so, based on that, they went and made an arrest, and, that's where it is. Now, I guess my reaction to that is I think we're going to get a lot more documentaries, and we might even get another biopic or something that is going to kind of, I guess, round out this history, or say this overall Tupac story. Is this some level of closure for, I guess, for hip hop in general, and this happening on Hip Hop 50 is interesting.
I don't feel any better. I don't feel any different.
Yeah.
It doesn't change. Like, okay, I think there was probably a time where having this information would have brought a level of closure to it, most notably for the family and the friends close to the man.
Correct.
But at this point, Mike, it's like we've all kind of made our closure with Tupac, quote unquote, like without, what I'm saying, this being solved. And when somebody this great gets murdered, it never like, you know what I'm saying?
Right. But it's always been in the hip hop
It's never it's
atmosphere.
it's never okay. It never really goes away.
It's always been in the hip hop atmosphere, though, that this was an unsolved, case. In Biggie and Pac,
Yeah.
it's unsolved, and now, to a degree, we can't really say that. Now, you obviously got some, conspiracy theories out there for, what could possibly be, but I don't think that this goes down on paper anymore as something that's unsolved, and I don't know if that helps the Biggie side of it, where maybe we're gonna get something similar. I don't know, but in this case, it kind of, I don't know. It just adds another factor to, the story, his legend, everything that he's about. The legend inflates, and it almost feels like this wasn't solved in a timely manner because they didn't know how legendary this individual was going to be. Maybe they thought this was going to be something that went away in the minds of the fans. Maybe in '96 they didn't understand how legendary Tupac was going to be, how well his music was going to age. You can't sweep this under the rug.
I think. See, this is what I mean. So we live in this veil still that
Hmm.
I always reference. It's from The Souls of Black Folks by W.E.B. Du Bois. And within that veil, there's all sorts of institutional things that happen. But there are also intangible things that happen, Mike. And that's like the devaluing of us as individuals, as human beings, as artists, the music that we partake in. Hip hop is 23 when Tupac dies, not 50.
Yeah.
And so you have to understand, for a demographic of this nation that makes up the majority of this nation, he very much comes off as some sort of flash in the pan black cult hero,
Yeah.
not an icon with an everlasting legacy.
True.
But that's part of that. Listen, that's not institutional racism. That's that intangible racism that you can't account for. And so it's the devaluing of everything systematically that allows those intangible things to occur.
Mad Max with the super chat says, "I don't get the big deal with this Tupac thing. I mean, he died because he was wild. He was wilding with street cats. Pac was just famous. His death happens every day in the hood. That I don't know if that makes that okay though, and I think it's a
No,
little deeper than that, Mad Max. And I know that Tupac is your goat. For the people who are just now viewing this and don't know Mad Max like that, it's interesting for you to have that perspective. I will say.
well, okay, so that happens to people in the neighborhood every day, but cats like Pac don't come around every day, Mike.
Exactly.
Not that say the things that he says, addresses the issues that he addressed. Like, no. Like, so I get Mad Max's preface to a degree, but what Pac offered as an individual is quite
We
far
haven't
greater
seen
than your
anything.
average, Mike. Far
We
greater
haven't
than
seen
your
anything
average.
like it. I mean, ever
Yeah, we haven't
since.
seen anything like him since. Like,
Yeah.
and many have tried to emulate.
And that's not
And
like
no,
um it's not like anyone saying that somebody is subhuman, or or someone's life means more than another person's life or anything to that degree. But we do understand the impact of this individual, and we have to recognize the impact of this individual and the impact this person still has on the game, had on it at that moment. We're not going to sit here and act like Michael Jordan's just just another guy. It's not. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I mean, there's a reason we're talking about this right now. There's a reason why people have probably even tuned in, because Tupac's name is in the title of this show. So the name still rings. It's not just some regular, some normal individual just in the streets.
no. As somebody, I mean, how I feel about Pac, Mike, but as somebody that's not like a big podcast fan or watcher like that,
Yeah.
if I were to see Tupac gets justice like flash across, I'd be like, oh, because that's my guy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, his effect is everlasting. But 26 years ago, 27 years now.
Yep.
Shit,
Long time ago, man.
he's been gone longer than he was here
It's insane.
now.
And his impact
And
is even stronger. And his music,
and
let's just keep it real, because some people would say, all right, well, death inflates individuals or whatever. His music still stands up. Straight
that's
up.
what I mean. It's like, yeah, like it's different with him because it's like now time has passed, and it's like you felt like he was making great stuff that would last forever. Oh, it has.
It has. And it's not
It
because
has.
he passed, it's the
Like
music.
like his best stuff, Mike, has held up as well as any rapper's best stuff has ever held up in the history of this game, and it has nothing to do with his death.
No, it doesn't. I mean,
His music is there.
when we did our song for song matchups, man, his shit's tough to beat. And that stuff
There's
was
not
made like almost 30 years ago.
Mike. His music, it just makes others people's music just look at times like it's like that, like that. Like he has a catalog. Like how about this? Our problem. I wouldn't call it a problem. You know what I mean? Because we still rank them high and in our top 20. But think about like somebody like Black Thought, Jadakiss, Method Man. They don't have anything for him. They can't go song for song with Pac.
They can't.
Like,
And
think
they're
about how people
great.
talk about those guys. They can't go song for song with Pac.
And those guys are
Mike,
top 20 talents. Straight
Mike,
up.
Ray and Ghost can't go song for song with Pac.
No. And Ghost is my guy. But I
I
have to
love, you
admit the
know how I
truth.
feel about Ray. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Those are our guys. It's like, no,
He's different.
he's different. It's like that, Mike.
And he did that in a 5-year span.
Like, he gave Ice Cube big problems.
I'll tell you this.
Big problems.
Would you be confident in the song for song matchup with Jay-Z versus Tupac?
If I'm picking Tupac,
Right. That's in the catalog that Jay has, it's incredible.
Jay's
But
timeless. Jay doesn't have as many timeless songs as Tupac. He just doesn't. That's just what it is at the end of the day.
so if you throw
But
Song Cry up against Dear Mama, I guess. Like, all right, so if I play Dear Mama and you got Jay, what are you gonna respond with? And this is for the people in the chat too.
probably Mama Loves Me.
Man, that ain't even close, and I love that record.
He don't have anything close. Everybody in trouble.
CJ Kid with the super chat says, "Happy birthday, Coop! Just in here, just got in here. Excuse me, just got in here. Welcome to the room, CJ Kid. We're gonna really talk about some hip hop today, as we always do.
Yeah, he's different.
He is different, and you know,
Not like Mike Nas in trouble too.
Yeah.
Like everybody in trouble.
everybody, because
Yeah.
his balance, his dynamic. Like when you look at songs like "How Do You Want It," like when we were kids, you know, it was a song got played on the radio a lot. I liked the song, but looking at it now as an adult, that song covered so many grounds effortlessly. It was a banger.
Like, forget
He
that.
took on political topics. It was a record for the chicks. It was everything, and he did that every time.
Mike, think about some of the stuff that didn't. Like, how about this, Mike? If I go sit down somewhere and I just go, every other city we go, every other video. Like, people know the words, Mike. It's been 27 years. Like, people are still singing some of the stuff that like wasn't even singles.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I mean. It's like, oh no, he's tough to beat. It's like that.
Yeah.
Like, and the songs are holding up. No, Mike, Ambitions of the Rider still sounds great.
Oh,
No
yeah.
More Pain still sounds great. Dear Mama, Keep Your Head Up, So Many Tears. No, all these records still sound incredible, Mike.
Yeah. I mean, Pain from the Above the Rim.
Pour out a little liquor,
Pour out a little
Mike.
liquor. Yeah,
No,
the
it
only
still
stuff
sounds
to
good.
me that sounds somewhat dated is like Brenda's Got a Baby, but I think the content of it,
1991.
exactly, the content of it kind of puts it
1990.
over the edge.
It's like 1990, Mike.
I would still feel comfortable, and you know how I feel about Tribe. I would put, even though I think Bonita's the better song, it wouldn't be ridiculous to put a Brenda's Got a Baby in the same conversation as stuff like that came out in 91. And that's not even his top 10 stuff, in my
It's
opinion.
not even as. It's not.
CJ Kid with the super chat says, Dear Mama
Arts,
versus Dear Mama versus She's Out of My Life. Which song is better?
I ain't mad at you, Mike.
Yeah, I ain't mad at you. You know what? I'm a Michael Jackson fan, and She's Out of My
Picture
Life
me
is a
rolling.
different record for Michael. But objectively speaking, I would have to say Dear Mama over that.
Yes,
I think Dear Mama's
Kenny
the top.
Mack, straight balling, Kenny Mack. Yes, that's what I'm saying. No, he got like his timeless stuff is as timeless as it gets.
Yeah.
That's why it's like about the music at
Right.
the end of the day with him. It's like, no, he was like that when he was here, and it happened so fast that it maybe seemed like a fluke on the outside. But ain't no way you can hear these records and like,
And the fact that he did it in that small window, and we have no idea what he would have done if he would have
Hail
been able
Mary?
to continue.
Me and my girlfriend, crazy, against all odds.
And on top of that, he went out on top. He went out getting better and better. We always talk about Biggie getting better and better, which he was. But his level of output, it wasn't slowing down. And the quality wasn't suffering from it either.
Yes, Don Smooth, Life Goes On.
Yeah.
How many brothers, fell victim to the
Great
streets.
record. Life Goes On is a
Yeah.
great record. And that's
what
not
I'm
even
saying.
single.
No, don't nobody want that smoke.
For most artists, A Life Goes On is a single for you.
That's an album song for Tupac.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I mean. People forget it's like, no. He was a hit maker too, Mike. He was a hit maker with the highest level of content this game has ever seen.
And I think that's the thing too. When we talk about his documentaries and how people recap his life, and that's another reason why I'm glad there's some level of closure here. So we don't have to focus on that. We never really just focus on the music itself. It's always the other
That's what I
stuff. with him.
mean.
And the music
Mike,
is strong.
He was that dude when he died.
Yeah.
Like, but for very good reason.
And not because of the interviews, not because of, you know what I'm saying, the
No, he's the
supposed
best
violence.
interview too,
because of
Mike.
the
That's what I'm
music.
saying. He's best at a lot of stuff. He's your best hit maker. He's your best song maker. He had become a great album maker that could rival like.
I think he might be the
Yeah,
best interviewer in hip hop history.
yeah, him and Ice Cube,
Oh yeah, Cube too.
O'Shea
Um,
and Tupac,
web visibility and Kanye. Web
West
visibility with the
West.
super chat says.
No,
West for
absolutely
real.
not.
West. You don't think Kanye's a top 3 interviewer? You know whose
No, we
interviews I
about to
like
Mike.
too?
We have evidence. We have recent evidence that shows that he's not.
Oh man, his
He's going
interviews
on full fledged temper tantrum. Looks like a 9 year old. It's
his interviews
ridiculous.
spark up all
You're
kind
gonna
of
find a
stuff.
way to co-sign it. We are not co-signing that on my
I
birthday.
think Rick
We about to
Ross,
get narcissist, Mike. The highest
I can
order.
give you that. My top 5
Ridiculously narcissistic.
off the top of
It's
my head.
bad.
Off the top of my head, Coop. I would say my top 5 interviewing hip hop artists. I'm gonna go Pac, no particular order. Say Pac, Cube, Kanye, 50 Cent, and Rick Ross. I love Rick Ross's interviews, man. Who you got to top that though?
First of all, you want to know, I'm going to give Jay this. When Jay does interview, I find his interviews to be highly intelligent and very insightful
They
and
are.
thought provoking
He just doesn't do it
than,
enough.
than an MFer. But when he does it, Mike, he does it and they're excellent. So it's Tupac, O'Shea, and Jay, just off the top of my head. I'm not like as big on 50 and Ross's interviews maybe as
Really?
you are. I'm definitely not putting Kanye in the top of anything right now. Not, I won't do that. Let me see.
Hold, let me get to the super chats while you think it. Web visibility.
KRS gives great interviews.
Okay. Web visibility with the super chat says, "If My Homies Call" is one of my favorite underrated Tupac songs. Yeah, I love
So
that
many
era.
records.
I
So many
love that
records.
era of Pac. That shit
A
was
lot of
old
records.
school for us when we were coming up. Cause I remember,
That's an old school record for us, Mike.
yeah. Cause I remember when he died, they were playing like all of his stuff, and they would play "When My Homies Call." We like, man, that's old. You know what I mean? But at the time, it's like 4 years old or something.
Like Temptations, I
I
Get
love
Around.
Temptations. Yep.
Uh,
So Many Tears.
it's a lot. Death Around the Corner. My
So-
Block from the show soundtrack, man, it's ridiculous what he did in 5 years. You understand? Not like, I'm not talking about like the album or the song making or the process or the fastidious nature of it, the quality of it,
Yeah, facts.
the quality of the songs. And so when people like ask us, like, and I think we've adapted as well as 40-year-old something men can be at like the younger generation and stuff. But I say this respectfully. Tupac's the reason somebody like Future can never be my GOAT. You feel me?
Yeah.
It ain't got nothing to do with not loving Future and what he brings to the table. It's like, you can't tell me that that's greater than that. I don't care what
you know
fucking
what?
era you talking about.
Future's from our generation, and I think Future would agree totally. I remember Future having a conversation with somebody about why he had Tupac over Jay-Z, hands down. He sounded like Gift, actually, and obviously they come from the same camp, but you know what I mean.
Well, Mike, I've told you that, me having Jay at number 2 and as an objective thing, he is not ahead of Tupac on my personal list.
Sean with the super chat says, "Mike, to be kind, Jay's music is dated, respectfully." You gotta say that a lot on this show. And honestly, when it comes to dated music, inactivity has a lot to do with that. And I've kind of seen that. I don't think Outkast music is dated, but I think that it would have a lot more vibrance if they were active, right? And I think the fact that we don't, first of all, Jay made records for the times. And I think that we can honestly say that. Big Pimpin', as dope as it was in the year 2000 or 99, excuse me, it doesn't sound that same way as it does today from an age perspective, right? And that's why Jay was able to maintain that hot streak that he had, because he made music for the times. Now, when we're talking about 20 years later, how well does that play? And I think we're seeing that now. And I think that he knows his B-sides aged a lot better than those records that were for the times. That's why he always harps on his B-sides.
About to have another timeless themes moment with Coop on his birthday. That's why Tupac's songs are so damn good, Mike. The themes are timeless. Keep your head up.
Yep.
Temptations. I Get Around. Brenda's got a baby. Picture me rolling.
Dear mama. Thumbs up in the chat, everybody. You know, and
The hearts, Mike, the hearts of men. Timeless themes. No more pain.
no more pain. Ambitions as a rider. Yeah.
All about you.
California love. We can keep it going. Live and die in LA.
I ain't mad at you.
Yeah.
It keeps on going. Timeless themes. That's why the music's so damn timeless. Like people like, what makes something timeless? The concept.
Yeah.
The theme. It can never be classic if what you talk about can't stand the test of time.
I always say this about those Motown records. Those songs, you know, when you're talking about love and the subject matter in that way, that can never get old. When the Supremes are talking about, you know, can't hurry love, you just have to wait. Like all of that stuff applies in any and every generation. And so, and what's going on for Marvin Gaye? They talk about how ahead of its time it was. Like, no, it was right on time in its time. It just never goes away.
Who doesn't understand my baby love? Oh, how I need you. Oh, how I need you. You ain't never felt that way, nigga? Like, what are we doing? It's timeless.
Jermaine Johnson with the super chat says, if Elton John or Paul McCartney were murdered in September 1996, the case would have been solved October 1996. Brandon B with the super chat says, if you could make a hit album from 2Pac's posthumous releases, what tracks would be on there? 12 tracks only. Well, that's something for the group, man, because he got so many.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that joint with RL would make it.
I like that record. To the End of Time.
I wonder if Heaven Got a Ghetto came out after he died, didn't it? That's probably his best posthumous record that I heard. But that got recorded during Strictly for My Niggas time.
Wow, and you never could tell. Once again.
Yeah. Well, listen, you know it is because he says, and now Bush won't stop the hit. I predicted the shit into apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
So Clinton's not coming into office until 92, 93. So that's the Tupac. That's after Tupacalypse now, but before Strictly for My Niggas. Strictly for My Niggas is 93.
Facts. John Phillips with the super chat says, Big wouldn't be as popular without Pac's beef. Big was popular. I think that
it was going to be big.
Yeah, Big was big. No pun intended. But
Big was big.
I do think that their back and forth did inflate Big more than it did Pac. Because, again, Pac was
didn't need the inflation, Mike. He was literally getting shot at and shooting back at police.
Yeah.
And going to prison.
And he was a movie star. And he was a movie star.
Doing a lot of interviews, right? Pac didn't need any more press.
And he was co-starring alongside Janet Jackson in a film.
And he's coming on A Different World with his homie Jada.
Yeah. Jay Short with Super Chat says, happy birthday, Coop. I still think hip-hop has don't think that hip-hop has recovered from Pac's death. None of these rappers anymore connect with or represent the people. Almost everyone now represents their brand. Interesting. I think that's an interesting point. Jay Short always makes interesting points. And yeah, for the people who are just now getting in the room, it's Coop's birthday. We celebrating Coop as well. Hit us on that Cash App, $ according to hip hop. We appreciate the love. Web Visibility with the super chat says, on Magic 2, Nas said that he put Tupac on the Hennessy. I would definitely like to hear more Nas stories about Tupac. Interesting. Joe Young with the super chat says, what's going on, A2HH? Tupac, I love him when Ice-T was talking about him and was moving reckless in the streets. He was going backwards. He will forever.
So Ice-T did an interview where it was after Pac died, where he talked about how, they did Mad TV together, and Pac loved him some Ice-T.
Yeah.
And Ice-T was trying to talk to him and calm him down. And Ice-T talked about how, when he looked him in his eyes, he realized that it's Pac really believed that he was set up by these guys. It wasn't he didn't need the media to fan no flames, Mike. He really felt that. You know what I mean? And Ice-T kind of spoke that it's no, he really felt he's there wasn't nothing I could say to him. He really felt that they had done him a certain type of way and that they was responsible and he wasn't about to,
And for him, he made it very known and he was very vocal about the fact in the media that this is an issue between two people or a few people. This is not an issue with the a whole coast versus another coast. He said clearly, don't let the media gas you up. Don't believe the media. So it wasn't like he was playing into media narratives for popularity, clout, sales, or anything like that. He made it very clear that he wasn't going to play into the things that they were playing into. Like you said, he believed what he believed.
Yeah, he really had a legit issue.
Yeah.
Like he felt some. Yeah, he like no, they had something to do with me getting shot. They knew what was going on. Fuck all that.
Joe Young with the super chat says Tupac comes from the heart and soul. Hip hop I'm sorry, happy birthday, cool. Thought it said hip hop birthday, cool. Probably did. Let's see. We got another super chat here with Sean. Sean said in 1999, Chopper City in the Ghetto, BG versus In My Lifetime, Volume 3. BG's album is better, hands down.
I think Chopper City might be better than Volume 3.
Well, that was a big moment for BG. I don't know how fair that is to compare that to one of Jay's weaker moments, but I mean, same year, it is what it is. Mad Max.
I think they're comparing. I think it's a comparative analysis of the music at the time, maybe shifting too.
Gotcha. Mad Max with the super chat says, "Big Pimpin' still goes crazy in the spots. It's a record to just jump around to. People take music too seriously. I mean, I don't know if it's just about that. I mean, it just doesn't sound as good as it did. Now, I remember exactly where I was when I heard Big Pimpin' for the first time. I was in my '94 Nissan Altima. I was coming home from work from like Golden Corral or whatever. I'm in high school. And I remember Chris Lover and Poon Daddy. Y'all know Chris Lover is Ludacris. And they debuted the song on the radio. And I was like, yo, this shit is hard. Because I was already a big UGK fan. And the fact that Jay-Z was collaborating with UGK, I was excited about that. But I'm not going to lie. It doesn't sound as good today as it did when I heard it. And to compare it to like UGK stuff, Wanna Chop Blades? That still sounds great to me. Wood Will still sounds great to me. Murder still sounds great to me. These songs are older than Big Pimpin'. I'm just saying the song Big Pimpin' doesn't sound as good to me today as it did in that time it came out. I mean, that's just the honest truth.
It's not as good. It still has a nostalgic feel to it that you love.
Uh-huh.
But how about this? When it came out, that was one of the 3 or 4 biggest records he had ever done.
Straight up.
And I don't think it's that anymore. And that's what I mean about it not being the same.
You're talking
and that's
about
what I mean about how it hasn't held, because it hasn't held up that level of greatness that we thought that it was when it first came out. And that happens. It doesn't just like happen to Jay with Big Pimpin'. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. If you ask me if You Don't Know sounds as good today as it did when I first heard it, the answer is yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's not like I'm just picking on Big Pimpin'. I'm just being honest. Like, and I don't know.
Rappers have catalogs, and sometimes, like, how about this, Mike? It's almost like, that eye test, it's that ear test. It's like when it comes on, you gotta hear it. It's like Big Pimpin' used to pass that test. It doesn't pass that test anymore.
I feel the same way about Missy's Get Your Freak On. Like, I remember hearing that, like, randomly on the radio, and I was like, yeah, this record don't sound as good as it did back then.
It don't.
Yeah. Mad Max
now, Lick Shots still sounds good to me.
Oh, Lick Shots is crazy. 1 in a Million, and If Your Girl Only Knew, yeah, those still.
I mean, 1 in a Million might be my favorite beat, like, ever, just pound for pound. If I'm picking a beat, that might be the beat.
Mad Max of the Super Chat says, the Big Pac beat of the Big and Pac beef, pause, immortalized Big, but Pac was the one of these guys who could be popular without Big, because Pac was just controversial, like Ye and others. But even without the controversy, he was big. I mean, so yeah, it wasn't just the controversy. I think the controversy made him bigger in the eyes of the media, because the media likes to dwell on negativity. But even without that, when Juice came out, he was big. When Poetic Justice happened, he was big. So
Kevin Chavis, I'm with you. The For the Fam, the Posse cut that was on a Mills album, the For the Fam, that might have been the best track during that Dynasty Volume 3 time, that might be the best record from like that whole like time period from them. I love For the Fam.
For the fans, nice.
Late night, club nights, Mac a track,
You know what's
I
interesting
pull up,
about For the Fam?
Cadillac, truck, nice. Two guns, Mac, Pack, Get twice.
Siegel's different, man. You know what's
Different.
interesting about For the Fam is that Jay-Z went last. Back
I love
then,
that. That's how all their posse. They should have done more posse cuts, and it should have went all like that.
Jay never used to go last. He used to always go first. And I think he's one of the guys who understood from a business standpoint when they dropped this shit in the club, A, I gotta set the record off proper, right? And then B, my verse is not gonna get cut off. I'm in here. Whether it was a feature, remember he got on Holla Holla, he went first, the Holla Holla remix. And the fact that he went last on For the Fam and went clean up, I think that makes that record unique to me.
Well, also too, he was trying to give his artist some shine, so
Yep.
that's why it's like you really didn't see him pull that kind of move ever. Really, that's what I'm saying. It's just like, yeah, he
Yeah.
always made sure he got run. Like he made sure his crew got some run on that record, and they ran pretty well. Like
Yeah.
I love the way Bleak starts off that song. That's one of my favorite Bleak verses.
Bleak's actually a really good song starter off.
He is.
Song starter. Yeah.
We them niggas be in your crib just like furniture.
I mean, he
Pop up
did
with your
that
gun in
shit
you.
on The Rock, Cameron's record. He set that song off great.
Yeah,
Same thing with the Brooklyn song with him, Jean Grey, and Mos Def. The Ninth
one
Wonder
nine
beat.
hundred hustler.
Yeah. Yeah, Meek Mill, I mean, not Meek Mill. Memphis Bleak does a great job of setting off songs.
It does.
CJ Kid with the super chat says, Coop, you like One in a Million over You Know My Steez? I asked because you said that the beat was one of your favorite beats.
I mean, if I'm
ever as
rapping,
well.
I'm picking my steez. But if I'm picking between the beats, yeah, I'm picking one in a million.
I think you and I got to speak on this Memphis Bleak Drink Champs interview Wednesday because I keep seeing clips from this interview and it's nothing but highlights, it seems like. I hadn't watched the whole thing yet. What do y'all think? I mean, we'll put it on y'all. I mean, y'all, the viewers. Do y'all want us to talk about this Bleak Drink Champs?